I have been back in the US for over a month now, and one of the biggest shocks that I didn't really think of at first, more than the food, more than the cost of everything, is the walkability and transportation option. Let me explain. So, in Europe, especially, every city, especially the big cities, are walkable by public transportation, one, and two, it's very affordable. Here in the US, there's really only three cities where you can do this, such as Chicago, New York, or Washington, D.C. All three of those cities do have good public transportation. They are not as cheap as Europe, but it does give you an option. So, anyways, right now, I am back in Arizona and Utah, kind of going back between both to help out my family. And so I have to drive everywhere. The closest most stuff is to us here up in the mountains is about 2.5 miles or about 4.5 kilometers, if you don't know the mile distance. So it is a pretty good distance, about an hour of walking minimum. And going there, it's easy. It is downhill. However, coming back is uphill. So while I can bike if I really needed something in a tight squeeze, it is quite a bit of a climb to get back up. So that is something to take into consideration. And you can only carry so much on the back of a bike. So those are kind of things. Also in Arizona, it is only about 1.5 miles to the closest grocery store. Or the library is about 3.5 miles, about 5.5 kilometers away. So there are things that are reachable, but it really depends. In Arizona, the biggest problem right now is the heat. It is starting to get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 42 plus Celsius every single day. So it is really hard if you need to go somewhere outside during the day. It is super hot. A lot of people, especially hiking or exercising during the day, you have, can have heat problems and then have to call for help. And it's just a really big thing that people don't always think about. So both places kind of have their different issues in some way. Also, I cannot afford gas right now really to drive anywhere. I have a little bit, but I'm really trying to only save it for emergencies. So I did have to use it once when I got a flat tire and had to drive my bike down to the shop because rolling it there on a flat tire would have ruined the bike more. So things like that, or if I have to do something for the dogs in an emergency. Like I do have to go to Costco to get the dog prescription, so I will use it for that. But really saving it, and I can't afford to spend more to fill up the car we have here fully. It's like $150 to $200. Gas right now is almost $5 a gallon. So, and it only gets about 20 miles a gallon. So you can only go for $5 about 20 miles, which when you live 4, 5, 6, 10 miles from everything is far. And I think one big thing that a lot of people forget with public transit in here is that it's pretty much forcing you to spend money to leave the house. Because if you drive somewhere, let's say you can afford gas or you have it in your car, even an electric car, you have to pay to charge. It is forcing you to spend money to leave. In Europe, or if you live somewhere with public transportation, you can pay for a monthly card or just be able to walk places for free or bike, whatever the situation may be, and it's free. So if you want to go meet a friend for coffee or just go to the grocery store, you can take public transportation or walk, and it's super easy, and there's really no extra things that you have to do that. And so I think that really adds on to the cost of living in the US, especially if you are not in those public transit cities. Is that okay? You spend money to go to the grocery store, then you're spending a ton of money at the grocery store, or everything here is just so much more expensive. A coffee is between $5 and $8, depending on where you go. If you get a latte or something to meet friends, lunch places, most places, even fast food now, like a meal at Chick-fil-A, for example, is like 12 something plus tax, so $13, $14 just for fast food meals. So it's really adding to the cost of everything. But what it's really affecting me now that I always knew about it, but now that it's been one full month in total, is you really feel trapped at home. And it's making it really hard. I go for walks with the dogs and bike rides, but just to go out and do small daily things, you're pretty much stuck at home. It makes it hard to leave. And so you're kind of just in this bubble, in this weird environment. And while, yes, my parents do have nice homes that they live in, it's still being at home almost 24/7 is hard. I try to keep busy, like I've said in previous videos, whether it's, just doing stuff for the dogs, or I bought a couple things at the dollar store, library cards, which are free. So I've been doing a lot of extra reading and things like that, or just, watching TV and videos, trying to pass the time until I can go back, which we will be in Italy starting in September, and some trips after that for a wedding. So just kind of counting down the days until I can do that. But I really feel trapped at home. And now that it's been a month, like I said, consistently here, I'm really starting to feel it. And it really makes you appreciate what public transit has in Europe and for people, and just kind of affecting social life in general. I think this is affecting a lot of other people too, who kind of feel more of a loneliness or don't have a lot of money to go out and do these things. And so this really makes it harder to do those things, and to, not be able to go out and enjoy wherever you live, depending on if you go morning or late night, if it's hot right now in the summer, or even if you can be out during the day, which you can here. But because you're so limited on where you can go, what you can do, it's also a very small town here, and the towns even surrounding, it is very small, so it's not like there's a ton to do anyways. But even to go walk through some of the free things, if they do have it, not even being able to do that is pretty hard. So just something to really think about when, you have a car, and if you can afford gas and all that, it's really a privilege to be able to do those things. Harder. This is one of those big things, not having public transit, not having cities that are set up where you can easily walk or bike or get around, and having affordable things to even go do or see. What I'm learning here in the US is pretty much every event you have to have a ticket. And now even farmers markets and different things to walk through, or different vintage events, you have to buy tickets just to walk through, even though it doesn't include anything. So everything in the US is really becoming having to pay for every single thing. Yes, there is some stuff in Europe you do have to pay for, but most farmers markets, vintage markets, just pop-up shops are free. So it's really a lot harder, and just kind of goes why I want to go back to Europe, and why being unemployed there or living on a tighter budget there is so much better for people in general, and just your overall happiness, and being able to go out and do the things you want to do, even if you don't have a ton of money to do that. Because these basic things of being out, enjoying life, and seeing people and architecture, pets, whatever the case may be, is just so much better in Europe. And I am ready to go back, and tired of being trapped here. If you want to follow along on my series, I've been posting a ton of videos on my channel regarding all of this content of 2 years living in Spain and being back here, and doing everything I can to go back, because this is one of the things that has really been tough. See